Alright, everybody, we're going to go ahead and play our next game, which this time around, we're going to play some CD-ROM games, and the first of which is going to be the 1995 PC version of Jeopardy. So let's go ahead and get right to it. I need to do a little switching around here. Okay. Alright, here we go. We'll just do the question database. Actually, yeah, general knowledge question.
Welcome to Jeopardy! Let's begin.
Thank you. So I'll be him. No, actually, I want to be him this time. Use the enter key to buzz in. So we have Michael Grant and we have Vince Thompson. So it's an all guys game. Here we go.
I'm Michael Grant, a commercial airline pilot. I flew jets in the Navy, and I've always been interested in military history.
My name is Vince Thompson. I'm a high school English teacher from Massachusetts, and during the weekends, my wife and I like to direct a local drama club. In fact, right now we're rehearsing 12th Night.
Here we go.
All right, contestants, let's begin round one. There is one daily double on the board, and here are the categories.
Those are the quotation marks. The Bible, fruits and vegetables, furniture, and we'll close it out with sculptors. All right.
Good luck.
I'm ready.
Contestant number one, we'll start with you.
Things off with the Bible for 100, please.
The answer is...
Right. In Judges chapter 16, she said, "The Philistines be upon thee, Samson, 4 times.
Contestant number one.
Who is Delilah?
You are correct. Contestant number one.
Bible 200. Then cometh Jesus from Galilee to Jordan unto this man to be baptized of him.
Contestant number two.
John the Baptist? I think so, yeah.
Yes,
That's what I was thinking.
that's correct. Contestant number two.
Sticking with it. Genesis chapter 6 verse 10 says that he begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Contestant number two.
Simon? I don't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's wrong.
It's not Simon.
Contestant number three.
Saul?
Sorry. Incorrect.
It's not Saul. I don't have any idea, so I'm going to hold back. Noah. Okay.
Contestant number two.
Noah. A man hath no better thing under the sun than to eat and to drink and to be this.
Contestant number one.
What is Mary?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number one.
500. You'll find the story of Nebuchadnezzar's dream in chapter 2 of this Old Testament book. Ooh, this one I don't know.
Contestant number three.
Ezra? No.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
It's not Ezra.
Contestant number two.
Is it Daniel?
You are correct.
Daniel. Okay.
Contestant number two.
Now fruits and vegetables. The white variety of this is also called the Irish variety.
Contestant number one.
What is the potato?
You are correct. Contestant number one.
Vegetables 200. When cooking this popular corned beef partner, a piece of bread in the pot may cut the odor.
Contestant number one.
What is cabbage?
You are correct. Contestant number one.
Fruits vegetables 300. This part of a watermelon is used to make sweet pickles.
Contestant number one.
What is the rind?
You are correct. Contestant number one.
400. Funk and Wagnold says its parents were probably the lime and the citron.
Contestant number 3.
Is it grapefruit? I doubt it.
No, I'm afraid that is not correct.
It is not the grapefruit.
Contestant number 2.
No idea.
Incorrect.
I don't have any idea, so I am going to hold back. It's the lemon.
Contestant number 1. The answer is
Left to grow, the heads on broccoli will become knees.
contestant number 2.
Flowers.
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
Now furniture 100. A Davenport can be a small writing desk or a large one of these that you can convert to a bed.
Contestant number 1.
What is a sofa? Yep. Very good.
Correct. Contestant number 1.
Furniture 200. The gate-leg style of this piece of furniture was introduced to colonial America around 1650.
Contestant number 2.
That's a table. Yep, I was thinking.
You are correct.
Oh well.
Contestant number 2.
Not worried. Anatomical term for the piece of furniture that was originally a lidded box. The drawers came much later.
Contestant number 1.
What is a chest?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
400. Carver chair was named for John Carver, first governor of this Massachusetts colony.
Contestant number 3.
Concord? No.
Wrong.
Vince is having a good game.
Contestant number 2.
Plymouth colony? There you go. He's right.
Correct. Contestant number 2.
All right. The design period named for this royal couple flourished from 1689 to 1702.
Contestant number 2.
Edward and Alexandra? No way.
I'm sorry. That's wrong.
No.
Contestant number 3.
Vince still doesn't know.
Sorry. Incorrect.
Vince is having a bad game here. I don't have any idea, so I am going to hold back. William and Mary.
Contestant number 2.
Now on the sculptors. The Vatican's principal attraction at the 1964 World Fair was this sculptor, St. Peter's Pieta.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Michelangelo?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1.
200. This cowboy sculptor was an illustrator and correspondent during the Spanish-American War. Don't know.
Contestant number 3.
Barnes?
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Vince has not gotten a single clue right this game so far.
Contestant number 2.
Frederick Remington?
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
Okay. This sculptor known for his bronze David was born Donato di Niccolo de Beto Bardi.
Contestant number 1.
Who was Donatello?
You are correct.
Correct.
Contestant number 1.
This Frenchman's portrait sculptures include those of Victor Hugo and Balzac.
Contestant number 2.
Auguste Rodin, that's what I was thinking.
Yes,
All right.
that's correct. Contestant number 2.
His 1914 work, Glass of Abinst, was called a Rococo variant of Cubism.
Contestant number 2.
Pablo Picasso, yeah, that makes sense.
You are correct. Contestant number 2.
Now on to history, okay. It took the Spaniard and his army 13 days to take the Alamo. It took the Texas army 18 minutes to beat him at San Jacinto.
Contestant number 1.
Who was Santa Anna?
Yes,
All right.
that's correct. Contestant number 1.
200. Benito Juarez, who had once studied for the priesthood, was elected a president of this country in 1861.
Contestant number 3.
On the buzzer. It is Mexico. Vince got it right.
You are correct. Contestant number 3.
It became the name for LBJ's domestic programs, and Americans were told they could move upward to it. Get a telephone call. I don't recognize that number, so I'm not answering.
Contestant number 2.
The Great Community? I doubt it.
I'm sorry. That's wrong. Contestant number 3.
The Great Society?
You are
There you
correct.
go.
Contestant number 3.
Charles VI's brother was the Duke of this place before Joan of Arc was the maid of it.
Contestant number 1.
What is Orleans? Oh, let me lowercase that R.
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
400. Before he was president, he was elected governor of Virginia in 1779, succeeding Patrick Henry.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Thomas Jefferson?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
500.
Contestant number 1. What would you like to wager?
Albert Gallatin, the U.S. Fourth Secretary of this department, was born in Geneva, Switzerland in 1761. I don't know.
No, I'm afraid that is not correct. Contestant number 1.
Herodotus estimated it took 100,000 men 20 years to complete this structure of Giza.
Contestant number 1.
What is the Great Pyramid?
You are correct.
Yep.
Contestant number 1.
The 1929 stock market crash is blamed for starting this economic slump that lasted over a decade.
Contestant number 1.
What is the Great Depression?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
Tiny Tim's 1968 version of this song wasn't quite as big as Jerry Lee Lewis's.
Contestant number 1.
What is Great Balls of Fire?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
They formed the boundary between North Carolina and Tennessee.
Contestant number 1.
What are the Great Smoky Mountains?
You are correct.
$3,400 at the end of the Jeopardy round. Now double Jeopardy.
Now for the double Jeopardy round, with 2 daily doubles somewhere on the board in
Literary
these
quotes.
categories.
First ladies, theaters, world travel, and we'll close it out with artists. All right, we know Vince is going first.
Good luck. We'll begin the game with contestant number 3. The answer is...
All right, here we go. This scandal of 1924 involved the secret leasing of oil reserves in Wyoming and California.
Contestant number 1.
What is Teapot Dome?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
400. When he was in power, the Venetian Palace in Rome was his headquarters.
Contestant number 3.
Benito Mussolini?
Yes,
Yep, he's the
that's
one.
correct. Contestant number 3. Let's take a look at the answer.
600. She was born in 1731, the year before her husband.
Contestant number 1.
Who was Martha Washington? Yep, she's the one.
Correct.
First ladies for 800.
Contestant number 1.
In May and June 1977, this first lady visited the leaders of 7 nations in the Caribbean and Latin America.
Contestant number 1.
Who is Rosalind Carter?
Yes, that's correct.
Ladies and
Contestant number 1.
Although best known by a nickname, her given name was Dorothy.
Contestant number 2.
Not Nixon, no.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Not Pat Nixon.
Contestant number 3.
Eleanor Roosevelt? I don't think so.
Incorrect.
I don't know this one, so I am going to hold off on buzzing it. That was Dolly Madison.
Contestant number 1.
First ladies for 200. This first lady met her husband at the home of her sister in Springfield, Illinois.
Contestant number 1.
Who was Mary Todd, or was it no? No, I think I'm going to change it. Who is Nancy Reagan?
I'm sorry. That's
I
wrong.
changed it.
Contestant number 2.
It was not Dolly Madison.
Sorry. That's incorrect.
I'm the only player with anything right now.
Contestant number 3.
Mary Todd Lincoln, I was
Yes,
right.
that's correct.
Oh, well.
Contestant number 3.
It's okay.
Let's take a look at
Trust
the
your
answer.
First instinct. In the 1950s, her hairstyle with the famous bangs became her trademark.
Contestant number 1.
Who was Mamie Eisenhower?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
Century 600. The Meech Lake Accord of 1987 provided that this Canadian province be recognized as a distinct society.
Contestant number 3.
No way.
Sorry, that's incorrect.
Vince is back to not doing so
Contestant
well.
number 2,
Western?
wrong.
No. Or better yet, wrong. Quebec.
Contestant
Okay.
number 1, here is the clue.
In July 1944, a conference in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire created two organizations, the World Bank and this fund. I got nothing. That was the International Monetary Fund.
Contestant number 1,
In 1966, it became the first planet to be touched by a man-made object. Can't talk.
contestant number 2,
Saturn? No.
sorry, that's incorrect. Contestant number 3,
Mars. I was thinking that.
oh, sorry,
That's not right.
that's not right.
If I were to guess, I would say Venus, but I'm gonna hold back. Oh, I would have been right.
Contestant number 1,
That's okay. Let's try Artist 200. In 1977, his irises sold for $53,900,000, a record price for a work of art to that time.
contestant number 1,
Who is Vincent van Gogh?
yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1,
This American illustrator's 1943 paintings, The Four Freedoms, toured the country during World War II. Don't know.
contestant number 2,
Not Andy Warhol, no.
incorrect. Contestant number 3,
Norman Rockwell.
yes,
There you go.
that's correct. Contestant number 3,
To prove that blue could be more than a minor color in a picture, he painted the blue boy.
contestant number
Who
1,
was Thomas Gainsborough?
you are correct. Contestant number 1, the clue, it's the Daily Double.
I'm just going to
Contestant
do
number 1,
$800.
what would you like to wager? The answer is
All right. This artist, known for his arrangements, once made maps for the U.S. Coast Survey. Nothing.
no, I'm afraid that is not correct. Contestant number 1,
Although of Greek origin, this artist is best known by his Spanish name, which means the Greek.
contestant number 1,
Who is El Greco?
you are correct. Contestant number 1,
Literary quotes 200. Macbeth asks, is this one of these weapons which I see before me, the handle toward my hand?
contestant number 1,
What is a sword?
sorry, incorrect.
No.
Anyone else? Contestant number 2,
A dagger?
yes,
Oh, okay.
that's correct. Contestant number 2,
Thomas Carlyle called a poet without this emotion a physical and metaphysical impossibility.
contestant number 2,
Fear?
sorry,
No
incorrect.
way.
Contestant number 3,
Love. That makes more sense.
yes, that's correct. Contestant number 3,
He can risk up to 1,000. That's exactly what he's going to wager. So let's see how he does. Music lovers enjoy visiting the Smetana Museum in this European capital. Ooh. Prague, Czechoslovakia. That's right.
yes, that's correct. Contestant number 3,
It is the cruelest month, breeding lilacs out of the dead land.
contestant number 2,
May? I doubt it.
oh, sorry, that's not right. Contestant number 1,
What is April?
yes,
There we go.
that's correct. Contestant number 1,
The author who wrote, and now was acknowledged the presence of the Red Death.
contestant number 1,
Who is Edgar Allan Poe?
yes, that's correct. Contestant number 1,
Doubts are more cruel than the worst of truths, he wrote in The Misanthrope. The Misanthrope, however you say it.
contestant number 3,
Watson, doubtful.
oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong. Contestant number 2,
I don't think it was Moliere. Oh, it was Moliere. Okay, never mind. I'm tripping.
right. Contestant number 2,
Godlike name shared by theaters on Shakespeare Avenue in London and West 125th Street in Harlem.
contestant number 3.
The Apollo Theater?
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 3.
In this city, it's about 2 miles from Hans Christian Andersen's Boulevard to Den Little Hofbräu statue.
Contestant number 2.
Copenhagen, yep, in Denmark. I knew that.
Yes, that's correct. Contestant
One.
number
Given in
2.
time, though. Tourist sites in this Detroit suburb include Greenfield Village and the Henry Ford Museum.
Contestant number 3.
Dearborn?
You are correct. Contestant number 3.
In 1963, British director Tyrone Guthrie founded a theater named for himself in this Minnesota city.
Contestant number 2.
Minneapolis, that's what I was going to say too.
Yes, that's correct. Contestant number 2.
Okay. In 1958, Broadway's Globe Theater was renamed in honor of these married actors. No idea.
Contestant number 2.
Alfred Lunt and Lynn
You are
Fontana.
correct.
Yep.
Contestant number 2.
Jumps out of the hole. The new Abbey Theater opened in this Irish city in 1966. The old one was destroyed by fire in 1951.
Contestant number 1.
What is Dublin?
You are correct. Contestant number 1.
It's the type of summer headgear that's used to describe summer stock theaters.
Contestant number 2.
A straw hat?
Yes,
Michael's out
that's
of the hole,
correct.
so he'll be around
Contestant
for
number
part of the
2.
But Vince will not. A memorial to John F. Kennedy is located near Dealey Plaza in this city.
Contestant number 3.
Dallas? Yeah, that's where he was killed.
You are correct. Contestant number 3.
This London palace was originally the home of a duke by the name of John Sheffield.
Contestant number 1.
What is Buckingham Palace?
You are correct. The final Jeopardy category
Famous
is...
women.
Contestant number 1. What would you like to wager?
I'll do $1,401.
The final Jeopardy clue is...
Alright, here we go. The Greek emblem E, first one on Earth, got its number 2.
Contestant number 2, your final Jeopardy response was... right. Let's see what contestant number 2 wagered.
Right, because of she unleashed all the miseries, I think, when she opened the box. $10,001.
Your total?
That's how much I'm going to end up with.
Contestant number 1, your final Jeopardy response was... yes, that's correct. Let's see what contestant number 1 wagered.
And I'll see you all for the next game after the break.
Your total? Contestant number 1, you are now the reigning Jeopardy champion. Congratulations.